Hey, welcome to a new edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. We're in the middle of the basketball season. Just got done with some of the holiday tournaments. The Joe Armijo was going on. The Rio Rancho tournament was going on. We have all those tournaments for you on Proview Networks. Plenty more to come. But we are in the middle of basketball season, so I'm excited to have a Sandia guard, Hope Giddings, as our guest. Welcome into the studio.
Thank you for having me.
First thing I got to say, I would say in Albuquerque, the only person that I know that goes to as many basketball games as me and Cameron Brown might be you, because I see you at all the games.
Yeah.
So talk about that. I mean, obviously you love hoops, right?
Yes, I love playing basketball. I love watching basketball. Me and my dad, I love watching basketball with my dad especially. Right. So if I'm not playing or if I'm not practicing, we just like to go watch different games, boys and girls. We just like to see who's playing and stuff like that. So.
All right, so before we get into your background and all that good stuff, let's start there. Since we're watching a lot of basketball, if you had to pick a top three, I'm not going to put you on the spot and go girls basketball, right? Because that's totally your lane, right? So I don't want to give everyone any bulletin board material. But who's your top three boys basketball players in the state of New Mexico?
Top three boys basketball players? Oh, I'd have to say.
Well, I'll chime in with mine, and we'll see how our lists compare.
Do you want me to go in order?
Let's go in reverse order. So who would you put at three?
Ooh, it's hard. I don't want to sound biased because I play for ABC, but...
Okay. Well, let's do high school kids. Let's go APS or
APS,
State of New Mexico high school kids.
Kids that play for ABC and
No, just high school kids. I'm excluding ABC kids.
Even if they play high school basketball?
Oh, if they play high school basketball, then that's fine.
Adding in like the prep kids.
Yeah.
I'd say that's really hard. Okay, I'd say Jalen Holland.
That's my one.
As one.
That's my one.
Yeah, I'm not going in reverse. I can't.
Okay, all right. That's my one as well.
I'd say maybe Daniel Steverson.
Okay, all right.
2.
Interesting.
3. I'm trying to think of someone. I'm trying to think of all the schools.
I don't want to, put you too. We agreed on one. Let's leave it there, right? We agreed on Jalen Holland.
Yeah.
So did you go So when you're picking a game, right, to go to with your dad, what are you looking at? Matchups, individuals, teams. What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, individuals, teams, because we like to talk basketball a lot.
Right.
So
what's the best game you've been to all year?
I think Atrisco against Sandia, the boys.
Okay.
That was a really good game. Also, even the other day, the Atrisco and Academy, when they played in the championship,
right?
That was a really good game too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I always run into you at games, so I'm like, we're gonna talk some hoops on the show, right? Absolutely. So, but let's get into your season a little bit. I mean, you guys are off to a great start. Talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're 5-0, I believe. Yeah, 5-0. We've had a really good start. We've been putting up a lot of points too. We're all playing like really good team ball, getting a lot of touches for everyone.
Now, did I read that you guys won by 49 last night?
Yes, 49.
Right, so at the time we're filming this, last night you played, you beat a team by 49. Well, let me ask you, how much do you get out of a game like that? Right? Because I've heard coaches tell me that when it's sat lopsided, it doesn't do anything for the team that's winning and it doesn't do anything for the team that's losing. What's your opinion on that as a player?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice to have I wouldn't say easy start, but it's nice to have an undefeated record so far. Like we're beating teams by a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly it's just getting me excited for when we play the better teams like La Cueva and Volcano and stuff like that.
So those are kind of the dates you have circled in the schedule, right?
So I'm kind of just trying to get past it.
Right. No doubt. I mean, is that target still squarely on Volcano's back until someone beats them?
Yes. Well, La Cueva beat them the other day, so now we're coming. We want to go for Volcano and La Cueva.
Let's be honest. You guys wanted to be that team, right? To stop that winning streak.
Yes. We did.
So talk about that. I mean, is that kind of something that's been in you guys' mind? Like, hey, maybe this year we get them?
Yes, that's one of our biggest goals is to beat all the teams that beat us last year. So.
Was there just a little disappointment when someone else beat them?
Yes, because we wanted to be the first team to beat them, but.
What do you think's gone into this successful start? I mean, obviously you guys are You talked about it. You're sharing the ball well. Offensively, everything's going great. But what else has gone into this? There's so much more than that, right? What else has got into this good start?
Well, we all individually and as a team, we put in a lot of work. So it's just nice to see all of our hard work paying off into these games.
So talk about that a little bit. Like, I don't think the average person realizes how much work you guys put in away from Sandia, away from practice. What goes into that individual development for each of you?
Well, Sydney, Audrey, Chloe, Brown, like we all play club basketball. So it's a lot like we'll have our practice and then after we all go do our own thing. Like I know like Sid goes to like sports and wellness to train and Audrey, like I'll stay after practice to put up shots. Like we all just have our different things that we do to get better.
Right. And what about the off season before the season even starts? What do you guys do there?
Oh yeah, off season we're in the weight room a lot. Like for 7th period basketball class, we're always in the weight room, and then we had to share it with. We have to share basketball class with the basketball boys and the volleyball girls. So we would have to like split the gym with the boys. So we would do like half weight room and then half like shooting and drills and stuff, and then we would all go run and like do our own thing, like conditioning.
Right. And I mean, obviously the way you guys have been running teams out of the gym,
Yeah.
you think conditioning has a lot to do with that? I mean, that pace you guys play at, talk about that.
Yes, that's something that I think helps us a lot is we play really fast. We like to play transition. So like last year we were more of like a set play team, but we realized that we'd be better if we just like push the ball up and just play transition. So that's what we've been doing a lot.
Now, as a player, that's got to be a cool style to play in, but it's also going to be hard to get used to, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, talk about that a little bit. I mean, yeah, as awesome as it is, that takes a little bit of extra work and extra conditioning, right?
Yeah, we all just like run the floor a lot, and I know a lot of our players haven't really been used to it. Like I'd say at least our starting 5 with our club teams, we all play transition, but a lot of the girls weren't really used to it, so they had to adjust. But I think we're all doing really good, like playing together.
I want to talk more about that pace of play and style, but it is time for our first commercial break. We'll be right back with Hope after this.
Scans the scene, finds the corner, shot is up. Ooh, there's another one. Eris, that's 9 for Eris, and she's hit. Fires it off down low, cancels off the glass, and there it is.
Ball is stolen away by Montoya. Starters are on the break. Cal finds Trujillo. Pump fake. Trujillo was rejected by Terrell. Rebounded by Cal. Hook shot is up. It's good. 2 points for Brian Cal. Kalb with the dunk in transition.
We're back with Sandia guard Hope Giddings. I want to talk about pace of play and how you guys get up and down the floor. It's my opinion in girls basketball that when that happens, the pace of play, the pace at which you guys play at, like 50% of your schedule run out of the gym wins, right? Just a lot of teams can't play at that pace, right? And so then that really does kind of make it just, okay, how do we perform in the big games against the big opponents? Because if we're playing that fast, you've probably seen it. There's teams that just can't play at that pace, right?
Yeah, I think that the best teams play like that, like fast in transition, because I know a lot of girls teams they have coaches that run set plays, and I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it, but I think it's better off to play fast in transition.
How boring would that be to play in that?
Yeah, we kind of went through it last year, but we like it a lot more now, just playing fast.
So, I mean, the two most dominant girls teams I've seen in my time covering, and I'm sure you remember them since you're a basketball junkie, that West Mesa girls team.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, this regime that just got finished at Volcano. Okay. They both played very fast, right? Yeah. And I think you saw when they played teams that a lot of teams just couldn't stay on the same court as them. And then it came down to, well, how well do they play against each other and the other big schools, right? Mm-hmm. Did you watch those two teams growing up? Because you're young, obviously, right? And so did you get a chance to watch those West Mesa girls back then? And obviously you got a chance to see Volcano as they were coming up, right? I mean, was that kind of the teams that you always looked at?
Yes, because my sister played high school basketball too, so we would always just go watch basketball games. And I remember seeing them play in the pit, the West Mesa girls in the state championship, and just watching like how good they played together and like how fast they played. And then same with Volcano, we played I think twice last year, and it's just like playing the game, like playing against them, you see how fast they play and how aggressive and like, yeah.
Would you agree that those two teams are probably the most dominant teams we've seen lately?
Yes, I'd say. Yeah.
Is that the goal for the Sandia Matadors, to get to that level?
Yes, to get to that
What do you guys
level.
think you have to do to get there?
I think we just have to keep playing together as a team, just keep working on like making the extra pass, getting back on defense, pushing up the ball, like just doing all the stuff that they did. Like we want to be like that too.
Right. Now, let's take us back a little bit. For those of us that don't know, you guys kind of had a talented group that came in together, much like those teams, right?
Yes.
Started as freshmen. So tell us about that, just coming into that as a freshman, for you as an individual, but also the collective.
Well, yeah, it was really nice coming into Sandia, seeing that I had Sydney and Audrey and now Chloe Brown, because I've played AAU with them. So it was just nice seeing that I had familiar faces on the team, and like, because sometimes when you go into high school basketball, you're playing with new girls, and it's kind of hard to build chemistry. But I think we already had pretty good chemistry, so it helped us out a lot.
Now, is that something that freshmen talk about, like, hey, we're going to win state? We don't know when, but one of these 4 years, we're going to win state. Yeah. Like, is that something that you guys talked about as freshmen?
Oh, yeah. We even have it in our gym. We have Chasing the Blue, like on our, like on the scoreboard. It's one of our biggest goals, and we talk about it a lot.
So what was like the first freshman moment where you're like, oh, I'm here, it's varsity, it's a little different? What was that?
I'd say probably losing to La Cueva in the first round of state last year. That's when we all just, I remember sitting down in the locker room and we were all just like it was I don't know, it was a good moment for us because it helped us realize that, like, well, first we made it to state, so we know that we can make it for like farther next time, but it was just a good moment to think about where we were at.
Was it devastating as a freshman? I've talked to some other basketball players where they're like, man, when I used to lose games as a freshman, it was like the end of the world.
Yes.
And then when it happens now, when I'm a junior and a senior, I just use it to fuel and motivate. So as a freshman, was it like devastating when you lost?
Oh, yeah. I remember crying because our coach talked to us for like a good 30 minutes. And I remember just walking out of the locker room and like crying because I was so sad because I just wanted to play in the pit really bad.
Right.
But
and then as you've now gone on to another year, like now, is it different? Like where now when you guys lose, obviously you haven't lost this year, but you know, other guys I've talked to, they talk about their junior and senior years. When they lose a game to a certain team their junior and senior years, it's not as much as devastation. It's more they're just pissed. They're taking receipts. When do we see them again? When do we play them again? Is that kind of what it's like for you now?
Yeah. Well, we haven't lost yet, but if it were to happen, I think we'd all just be mad and just use it as motivation to not let it happen again. So.
Where do you think you've grown most as a player from freshman year to now?
I'd say my confidence has gotten a lot better, and just like I think I've matured a lot, like mentally, because I know that like last year if I had missed a shot or something happened, like I'd get in my head, but now I just kind of shake it off and I forget about it, and I'm like, okay, next play.
Next play, right? What about the team? Where is the team grown the most from that team as freshman to now? Where, as a collective, what do you see?
Oh, well, I think we've also matured a lot. Like last year, I think we played a little bit more selfish, but this year we're all like using each other a lot, and we all learned that we need each other to win. So we've just been playing more as a team. And
when does that happen for a player? Like when does the light bulb go off, and when do players realize we have to sacrifice for each other if we want to win a trophy? When do players stop checking their stat sheets? When does the light go off and that sacrifice happens, do you think? I mean, how did it come to you guys? Are you there yet? I think we still need to work on it a little bit, but I think it's just anytime we lose, we realize that like the teams that we lost to, they all played team basketball. Like they didn't really have one certain girl that beat us. It was their whole team. Right. So we just realized that like we all need each other to win the game. So we just like, I don't know. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. No, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because that's a real thing. I've heard people tell me that. That's a real thing when they realize like, hey, it's about the collective. Sometimes that means sacrifice, and that's when teams tend to gel. Do you guys feel like that's where you're at, where you're gelling nicely? Obviously, it's easy to say we're gelling when we're undefeated, right? But, where do you feel like you guys are at as a team chemistry-wise and gelling?
I think it's gotten, like, a lot better. Yesterday, when we played, we all hit, I think, at least 2 or 3 threes, since we haven't really been shooting well, but we know I think our past games, when we were trying to hit our shots, we weren't, because we were trying to like get our own shots. But when we were making the extra pass and like distributing the ball to each other, that's when we started hitting shots.
Right. I want to talk a little bit more about culture and just winning and what that is about. Take another commercial break. We'll get back with Hope right after this.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
All right, back with Hope Giddings. We're talking about winning and winning culture, right? And how is that built? over time, you think? Like, what have you seen? Because I know when a team is good, there's that internal pressure. You guys all want to win state, right? But then when a team's really good, like then there's the outside noise as well, right? The expectations. So how do you guys manage expectations and just try to go out there and just be you and win?
Well, we know that a lot of people have different opinions about us, but we just know that everyone wants to win state, like you said. Every team wants to win state, but it's just a matter of who wants it the most. So we know that like we want to win it a lot. So we're just more focused on us instead of what other people think.
Right. And how do you block out? How do you keep out all that outside noise?
Well, honestly,
because it happens, right?
Yeah, it is hard, but we just realize that like at the end of the day, no one else's opinion really matters, or like no one else matters except for us. So we just know that we need to do our own thing and just not worry about it.
Right. And what does Coach K do with that as well? Because it seems like he is a super down-to-earth kind of pretty, like I love my basketball conversations with Coach Keddick. I could talk hoops with him for hours, it seems like. And it seems like he would be a real approachable guy when it comes to just the mental aspect of basketball.
Yeah, he's a very smart coach. I've never seen someone that's like so invested in what they do, and he's like, that's one thing that we like a lot about him, is he's really invested. Like, we're his family, so he always gives us like the best advice. Like yesterday when we were in the locker room, he told us, he's like, at the end of the day, you have to love what you do, and he's like, you have to enjoy doing it. Like if someone misses a shot, you like just go give them a high five and tell them like, you got the next one. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of loving what you do, now you played volleyball, played some softball. What am I missing here?
I played a little bit of soccer.
Soccer.
Did you say volleyball already?
Yeah, yeah. Choir singer at Lady of Guadalupe Church, right?
Yeah, I went to Catholic school, and I used to like love to sing at church, but my days are, well, I wouldn't say my days are over because I do like to sing to my team, but like taking it serious, those days are over.
So you're not going to, like, can you belt something out for us right now, or
No,
that's off the table? That's totally off the table?
Yeah.
All right. So when did basketball become the love?
Well, I think it's always been like.
When did everything else kind of take a backseat to basketball?
I'd say once when I was cheering, I was.
That's right, you were a Yapple cheerleader as well. How could we leave that out?
And I remember I was like at practice, and I was doing like I was trying to do like a back bend, and my wrist like I remember it completely, like it just popped and it twisted out of place.
Oh, that would be the end for me.
And that was
would be over right there.
I remember it was my left hand too, and I'm left-handed, so like I couldn't shoot for like 2 months, and I was like, okay, like I need to really focus on basketball because that's what I love to do the most, and it's just like the best thing for me. So
I gotta ask though, when you were a singer and Lady Guadalupe, I want to go back to that, like, because your dad now is like ultimate like hoops girl dad, right? Mm-hmm. Was he like ultimate singer girl dad back then, or what was that like?
Well, it wasn't really anything that I like actually was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go big on this, but I just like to do it for fun. And I always sing like in the car or whatever.
Like he wasn't like, oh, here's a bunch of CDs or anything like that?
No. He loves basketball.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's like a diehard basketball fan. He wants me to be a basketball player.
So, like, what's your go-to right now on your iPod? Since you're into music, obviously, what gets you hyped for a game?
I like listening to Drake, or there's a song, it's called "Wait for You" by Future, and that's my favorite song. Okay. And everyone gets mad at me because I overplay it, but. So, like,
assuming that our audience has never heard that song, you could maybe sing a little bit of that, or no?
No.
Oh man, I tried. You can't blame a host for trying, right? Like, I tried to get it out of you. Okay. Big games on the schedule this year, obviously Volcano, Farmington, La Cueva, right? Are those the three kind of?
And Hobbs.
And Hobbs, right?
Yes.
Now, big injury news at Hobbs. Obviously, very unfortunate that Wisdom tore her ACL again. Yeah. Is it safe to say that those teams plus you guys are kind of the competition for the state trophy?
Yes, I'd say us for Cueva, us, Hobbs, and Farmington. Yeah, those are always our hardest games when we play them. So
now we're filming this. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, La Cueva loses to Albuquerque High, right? And the Bulldogs are off to a really good start. Obviously, they have a fantastic player in Leilani Love. So are the Bulldogs for real?
Yeah, well, we played them the other day, and I think we beat them by, I'd say, 10
Right.
maybe. But it was a good game. Like, we were up by, I think, 20, and they started coming back. And it was a really good game for us. We had a big crowd. We knew it was a big game,
Right.
too. So it was a really good win for us.
Right. So, we're going to end on kind of what we started on, and that's talking about hoops, and you being a hoops junkie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when was the first time you went to a pit game with your dad and you watched a game and you said, I'm going to be down there. I'm going to be lifting a trophy. Like, when did that first happen? Like, when did you went as a fan, you went as, I'm going to a basketball game with my dad, but then all of a sudden you're like, no, I'm going to be down there doing that.
I'd say, honestly, watching that West Mesa game, just watching the girls, like, how happy they were when they won state. And then also...
I think it was more of a relief, too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for them?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the burden of all that pressure, right?
Mm-hmm. And then also the COVID year, when we had to watch it online, I remember watching it and I was like, I really want to be there. Like, I want to play on the pit floor, like,
Right.
really bad.
So lastly, basketball at the next level. Is that something you're obviously going to want to do, right? So tell me how that works as far as getting your film out there, talking to coaches. What does your support system look like at home? How will you make that decision?
Yes, well, I have a big support system at home, and my family, they all come to my games. Like, they love watching me, and my mom records all my games, and she actually just got like a computer to make like highlights for me to send out to coaches, which I haven't done yet, but I'm going to do it soon. And it's like something that I really want to do. It's one of my biggest goals is to play at the next level.
Right.
So that's something I really want to do.
And you see some local kids doing that now, obviously with Amaya Brown coming home, right?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. So who were kind of some of the girls you looked up to when it was just little tiny Hope Giddings going to basketball games? Who were some of the local girls that you watched that you looked up to that you're like, oh, their game is strong?
Honestly, I remember watching V&A Cumber because she played for Sandia,
Right.
and we're friends with her parents and stuff. So I remember watching her, and she was always really good. Amaya Brown, I'd say. I can't think of it now, but.
But the connection's definitely there, right,
Yeah.
with the local. I mean, it seems like it's a really close group, right? Like all the locals kind
Yeah.
of stick together.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Maya still, spends some time with some high school students and helps them. And I know that connection with V&A is strong, especially with Sandia girls. So it is a pretty close community, the basketball community, isn't it?
Yes, I feel like everyone knows each other, especially in New Mexico. So.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in. Continued success. I know, undefeated at the day we're filming this,
Yes.
so hopefully you guys can keep that rolling, right? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching. Good night, everybody.